What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of me trying to figure out this oil painting. You can see our painting up here. This is where we're at right now. Our last session we worked on defining the hands a little bit, and I took a step back and I was looking at the proportions of everything, and I feel like her head is just a watermelon. It's just way too big. So what I want to do today, you can see in the corner, no reference at all. I just want to use my artist brain, look at it, and try to balance out the shape of the head a little bit better. So that is what we are going to do. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some big dramatic reshapes of this like sphere here. And I'm probably going to cut off like that much, to be honest. Like I did a trick where I held my thumb up to it, looked at the chest, the butt, the legs, the arms, the fingers, and then move, and you're like, wow, that head is just way too big. So the whole thing needs to shrink in size, come back just the tiniest bit, and then this ear is going to have to go up higher to match everything. So what I will do is work on that. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut off a huge chunk of here. I'm just going to lop her nose right off, and then that'll get us started on our way. I hope you guys have been having fun. I'm on the forever path. Alright, you ready? Here we go. Let's ruin this lady's life. On the forever path of getting better. Making better decisions. Which is what we should all shoot for, right? Alright, so just chopping off a big part of her face right there. Already feels pretty good. What if that was it? Alright, we're all done for the day. Again, no reference today. Just gonna make some decisions based off of feel. Based off of the feel. Hope you guys are doing good. I miss the chat when I do these dropped videos that are not live streams, because I like checking in with you guys, seeing how you're holding up. So my first move is to change the shape of the face quite a bit. I need to bring it back, and I gotta bring the ear up, so I should probably just buff this ear out entirely. So what I'm gonna do is I still have my tones mixed up. I keep my glass palette in a sealed plastic case that is an oxygen-proof barrier, so that it doesn't dry out, so I'm able to use the exact same paint, the exact same palette, these little puddles that you see here, the mess that is me. I get to use these over and over and over again. See, look at how that just moves around like that. So I'm gonna grab some warm dark shadow tone here and just kind of buff out where her ear used to be. We're going to do a brand new one a little bit higher in a minute here. And again, I'm ignoring the reference entirely on this one. So everything you see and everything we do today as a team, I'm just going to make up out of the top of my dome piece. Oh, also today for my brushes, I have 4 rounds. I have 2 light ones and 2 dark ones, and I'm going to try to keep them separated like that. I don't know if it's really going to work, but we'll see. So that little semicircle, I think, is where I'm going to stash this new ear. Just going to start with the outer ring and the tragus. And then we will tune everything as we move along. You can see I dropped a highlight right there because I think I want some of the light coming through between these two arms so we can actually see the shape of this plane of the face a little bit better. I'm trying to think of it as a sphere and not as like a cheek or a nose or this or that. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but you catch me correcting myself from time to time of like this triangle here or this spherical shape or this, you know, cylinder or whatever, because I really don't want to think of it too much in terms of what the object is in the real world, because then you think like if you do that, then you'll be like, oh, okay, well, I know how to draw a nose. You start with a triangle and 3 volumes, one for the center, then if you do that, you're just going to apply the same formula every single time. But if you just think about the shapes, colors, and direction of light, it's a whole lot easier to be able to come up with convincing lighting effects. Now I know I want the ear to be a little bit warm, just because light passes through those translucent, fleshy textures. So I'm gonna do this with a little bit of alizarin crimson mixed in with my flesh tones, just to warm it up a little bit. Even at this micro scale, this teeny tiny ear that's barely the width of this tip of this paintbrush, I'm still gonna think of it in terms of blocking in, refining, and then detailing. And oftentimes just suggesting things rather than describing. I should have a t-shirt that just says suggesting rather than describing. Alright, so now I gotta reshape all this hair down here. So if that's her ear, then the hair is gonna kind of originate from back here as it falls down. I should probably bring up a notch this out down here too. Yeah, that's a good idea. And then that's like the shape of her skull there. So I'm gonna bring a big area actually up in here, in the background. I'm going to nudge that background up behind the head so as to change the skull shape a little bit. Getting close. We're not there yet, but starting to see some movement, some changing of the guard here, so to speak. And I definitely still want the bulbous aspect of the hair. Because if it's growing out of the bit, right now it looks like she's got like a wicked undercut, right? So, hair's gonna grow here. I'm just gonna mix a little alizarin crimson with my hair tone just to keep it warm. So the hair's going to grow from going behind her ear here, but it'll drop off a little bit as it goes to the base of the skull, then reemerge down here. Then it's going to kind of, there we go, poof out that way. So now, need to be able to see the poof from the top of the head too. And you know what's funny about this that I've never noticed from the reference is that the hairline in the reference, I believe, was just like a straight line across this cutting over the forehead. That's not how hair grows in the forehead. This would come way back, way deeper in there. So let's grab some flesh tone. Use my thumb and pull a little bit away first. Let's grab some flesh tone and reshape. Because we're looking directly at the side, so we want to be able to see the temple ridge and forehead running back into that hair. So if that's her temple ridge there, and that means the hair is really going to be coming back this way. Yeah. Makes more sense, doesn't it? Lordy, lordy. A lot of push-pull technique tonight. Really just trying to get some convincing shapes back here. Alright, now let's do something fun. Let's change our perspective here. Oh man, doesn't that face look so much better now? Let me see if I can raise my camera for you guys. Tight. So yeah, so now looking at this in a different angle, it starts to make more sense, the proportions. Very happy about that. Let's leave it up here for right now while we work on some of these facial features. Let me see if I can zoom you guys in here. Zoom in a little bit further on the face. There we go. Yeah, again, no reference tonight. We flying free, boys. Okay, so the thing I want to focus on now is the forehead, brow ridge, nose of what we can see of the nose. And I want that to have an interesting shape to it. I don't want it to just be shelf like it kind of is right now. So her skull is going to wrap back this way, which means forehead is going to wrap back. So it gets a little rounded. Not that round, John Merrick. That's how this works, right? Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, adjust, 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 adjust. Alright, that's looking good. And then nobody's forehead goes straight down without a brow ridge. So we gotta bring that brow ridge out. And part of doing that is to bring the eyebrow out. Let's bring that outwards first. Then we'll bring the skin out to that level. A little bit of an angle that way. See that? Nice. Now we're in a predicament. Because what happens underneath the brow ridge? Ho ho ho. We're gonna need to wrap that one back too. So essentially we're going like this on the forehead, out on the brow ridge, out on the eyelid, and then the cheek nose comes out. So I'm going to bring this eyelid forward, and this is receiving light, so we're going to use a lighter tone. I cannot wait to get hyper single bristle detailed and do these eyelashes. I'm going to get a jeweler's loop out for that to be able to see that close. Need to make some more drastic decisions with how bright to make some of these tones. They're really, getting to my subtleties a little too early. Still in the general phase. Alright, so bridge of the nose is going to be straight on there, down that way. But we got light tone next to light tone in the background, so we're losing any definition that we have of the edge of the face here. So what I'm really going to need to do is pull like a contour line that just runs that all the way once we get this dialed in. So I will continue dialing in. I'm going to do a little bit of warmth in the nose because two things. One, it's in shadow, and two, it's got that translucenty flesh. So I'll warm up just a little alizarin crimson, warm up some of this flesh tone. Don't want to get too pink with it, so I'll dip a little bit of this to bring it back. Yeah, nice. Pretty rad. Okay, so now it's not like final keystroke time, but I'm definitely gonna have to do a contour line on the edge of the face and forehead here, so we can separate it from that back layer, because that back layer's bright AF. Let's see. What's funny is I swear so much in my real life, and part of the rules of YouTube is if you want to get that reach, you gotta watch that mouth. So I'm sitting here in my private time in my apartment painting, looking down my camera and my iPad and my laptop, and I'm trying to watch my mouth for robots. Stupid. Alright. Let's play with this contour. I don't expect to nail it the first time, but I'm just going to dance off the tip of the bristle here. Yeah, it gives it some definition, but it looks dumb as hell, but that's alright. We're going to work on tuning and tuning and tuning and tuning. Whose nose in the entire world arcs like that? I mean, come on. This would be so easy to just take like a micron pen and just draw it on, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to fail in front of you guys so that you can watch 30 hours of somebody saying, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, and then ultimately learn that I was the right one. Alright. Put some more tones in this ear. And if we're going to have that ear popping out like that, we're going to have a shadow behind it. We're going to have the shadow. Nice. Getting some depth there. Something that I have not seen in the reference and we haven't dealt with yet is this rounded shape right here that's going from the nape of the neck to the cheek. Right now is just one flush shape and we need a jawbone indicated in there. So to do that, we can either darken right behind it or brighten in front of it. And since the face is mostly away from the direction of light's coming in from here, I think I'd rather darken behind where the jaw connects, like so. A little bit of an angle, and then we yeah, I feel good about that. And then we're gonna buff that out, right? So we're gonna take a nice little fan brush here and just very delicately break that line, just to soften it. If the light is hitting this much on this ear that's peeking out, it's got to be hitting at least that much on these features up. So let's give it a little bright highlight there. Bring back the cheekbone. And if this is the temple ridge, I mean that most of the forehead here is receiving light. Let's see what that looks like there. Just looking a little sweaty, a little glossy. It's okay. We are going to go ahead and pull this back this way. You know, it's funny. I've been recording now for 23 minutes and my music is pumping. And it's most definitely getting picked up by my microphone. And this is going to cause a lot of issues in the audio. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my playback on here. That's what happens when you're a one-man show, you know? Running your own studio, bro. We used to call the basement the studio all the time when we did music. It's a home studio, but I think every studio is a home studio now. You know, I've learned to listen for things in music that like indicate like where we are now as creatives and as consumers. And I've noticed with the rise of home studios, home recording, we've also seen a rise in the vocal performance being more subdued. So think like mumble rap, think nobody's more indicative of this than like a Billie Eilish. Like her lyrics are literally like, it's ridiculous, right? I feel, as somebody who's recorded at home a lot, and as somebody who's done a lot of vocals, that all of that is coming from people who don't want to project too much because they're trying not to bother their neighbors or somebody else in the next room. I think home studios, in a little way, have wrecked the vocal performance across the industry because people are not really comfortable putting power behind their vocal. Plus 1 million other reasons, but it's definitely something I've noticed and I've started paying attention to, and everywhere I'm looking, even like famous musicians who just, now just record at their house instead of at the studio, they're literally getting quieter. I also noticed, and this is not too new, this is like 15 years ago, but I noticed that Weird Al, and now listen, I'm not going to talk junk about Weird Al. I like Weird Al. But I noticed that Weird Al has gotten really processed in his vocals, like insanely auto-tuned and insanely affected. And I know he has the home recording studio because I've heard him talk about it in an interview, how he gets an idea for a song. You don't have to wait to go to the studio anymore. I can just run down to my basement and start recording. It's like, yeah, you can run down to your basement and keep your voice down because you don't want your wife to hear what you're working on. Alright, I gotta warm up this flesh tone and tie these two tones together. And this cheek here actually would disappear up here a little bit too. So it should buff up to there. Yeah. Now we're cooking. Look at that. Look at the difference that made. Right there. Alright, so jump back into my shadow tone for the side of the nose again. Side of the nose again. Just can't wait to paint the side of this nose again. And 45 times and I'm still trying it in. So stupid, sorry. Oh snap, look at that. We have the appearance. I think I see a nostril. Nice. A little bridge of the nose action there, not too bad. I'm feeling really good already. What do you guys think? What I'm asking chat. This is a drop. This isn't even live chat. Like Steve from Blue's Clues. What do you guys think? Me too. Alright, so let me keep spinning this bad boy and see what else we can do here. Adjusting my camera. Cool. I like to do this, like I said already, I think I mentioned it. If I didn't, I'm going to mention it again. I like to do this because it jogs my mind and makes me see it in a slightly different way. And I'm feeling really good about these little flesh tones in the face. I do, from our last session, still see that these tones are not really matching these tones, but I'm afraid that that's still too wet, so I'm not going to touch those fingers today. I'll tune that up again later. What can we work on? Let's work on a little shimmer in the hair. Why not? So, if she's got dark hair and there's these bluish reflective lights in the alley, there's some blue lights back here, there's some cooler tones over here, I'm gonna put like bluish reflections in the hair. I think I should take her all the way back this way for this next part. I'm going to put some bluish reflections in the hair. Blue-gray. And in order to do that, I'm going to just take one of these brushes I already got going and we'll mix up a tone. So, actually I got one here from our last session. Still wet, of course. I'm going to put just a little bit of liquid in there. Make it spread a little bit easier. Alright, let's give this a shot. Let's see how this looks. If we gotta go lighter, we'll go lighter. Right now we can see the brownness of the hair here. We can see... Let's see if I can zoom this in. There we go. You can see the brownness of the hair here. You can see the fleshy areas where the hair connects to the head. But coming back here where it puffs up towards the light a little bit, it's not light enough, so it's gonna add some more there. There we go. Yeah, we're cooking with this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And this is literally just like where the hair, turn my face here, poofs over and the light is catching it on the top here. So we're not going to see any of those highlights down here because the sphere is turning away from the light as it comes down this way. Just let that do its thing. This should get to like a darkness, like almost like a full black, and then this is re-emerging. So let's have a couple shimmers of light catch here. Make sure you guys can see before I start doing this next part. A couple shimmers of light, not too much. Ooh, that was terrible. Ooh, that was terrible too. That's okay. It's all okay. I hate how that went down. Let's thumb it up. Thumb down. Now it's kind of blended in there. Let's use it to our advantage. Let's make that be like a little bit of a shape tone. Now it's going way more surgical. Put in some light. A little bit better. Still kind of hate it, but guess what? I got blending brushes. So what we're gonna do, if you can see this stupid little chunk here, it's like a little tiny triangle that just peeked off the edge there. We'll take a blending brush, buff that out. Bye. So now what should we work on? If I got that face, it's like, I mean, it's not done, of course, but it's dialed in pretty good for what it is I want to do in this layer. I mean, we're really starting to make some moves here. Remember how small this is? I mean, this is my thumbnail right next to it. It's a small face. But I'm going to get even more ridiculous with it, so it's just a matter of time. Okay, I'm really liking how it's looking. Let me carve in a little better of a white edge along the halo side here. I failed in my modest task of making sure to keep my light brushes and my dark brushes. So I'm going to pull out a big old fat boy, another round here, and just use it to play with the halo glow. All I really need is the tip of the brushes anyway. Lock that down. All right. smoother there. Not too terrible. All right, let's zoom out. There. Looks good to me. Alright. Let's figure out what else we can work on here. I feel like there's a little translation getting lost down here right now. So maybe we can reshape that area underneath. See, the issue for me is that the shadow shade of the shoulder is exactly that of the background. And I need to change that. There's some cool blue here, and these are warm tones here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that background and I'm going to cool it off. To do that, I'm going to need a nice round brush and a little bit of liquid just to clean her off. And I want this violet gray, excuse me, this violet gray, a little bit of this French ultramarine blue, and that's cool. Definitely going to help pop it, but I don't need it that chromatic. I need a little bit more desaturated. So let's try this. Pull a little bit of this bluish gray tone that I have already in there. Now the values are going to be similar, but I should do some more blue gray. How should I tone this down? Orange is the complement of blue, but I don't really have much orange, so let me just dip the tiniest bit of this transparent red lake oxide. As long as I still have a cool tone, not a warm one. So, like, neutralized. I think I got it. Let's toss some of this under here and see how it looks. I want it to be more pronounced cool. I want it to be cooler. French ultramarine blue. Naples yellow. Ooh, a little bit of phthalo green. Gotta be careful with that phthalo. Really change the color of what you're going for. Mix with that French ultramarine blue gray. Now we're getting somewhere. Nice. Nice. Cool. And so even though that tone is not in the reference, doesn't matter. Now I got a little bit of coolness underneath the warmth of that, so I can do the push-pull effects. It is giving me too sharp of an edge there now, so I'm going to buff that out with a small, soft brush. And this is a pretty, let me see if I can zoom in. I know my zoom quality isn't great on here, but this is a pretty important technique I'm about to do here. So, I want to soften the transition between this orangey tone and this blue tone. So what I'm not going to do is push this way and push them into each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is a brush with no pigment on it, just a soft brush. I'm going to go on the line in between the two and run parallel with it, and watch how it very gently blends these tones. Or with it, parallel, not perpendicular. Nice, nice, nice. So now it's softer. And let me get a little bit more softness on that. There we go. This isn't the type of stuff that Bob Ross is going to do and whip out a painting in an hour. I think we're on hour 8, 8.5, maybe 9 on this painting. So we are definitely taking time. Let's turn it this way, see how we look. Values are too dark back here. So what do we do? What do we do? We can make this hair blacker to make that seem lighter, because the contrast of light next to dark. We can, right now we got like, this is turning into shadow, and then this is deeper. This is black. I don't want to make it bright like that. Let's start with darkening that hair, because that's an easy fix if we go too dark and don't like it. And then if we love it, we will go ahead and call that a wrap. If it does the trick, let's find out. Little alizarin crimson, little raw umber, little French ultramarine blue. Get us to a black, but a black that's warm. I'm just gonna put the tiniest bit of black in there with it too. Just because it's getting to full darkness. I don't really want it to flatten out, but definitely want to change the value structure. See how adding that little dark already made this feel a little bit lighter? That's contrast. It's putting colors next to colors to get effects. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Much better. Also, her hair is not going to come back that far. Her hair is going to go this way. Nice. Better. Love it. Cool. Looking good in the neighborhood. I'm really happy we changed the shape of this face. And that we got some cool little details in there. I know I'm not going to be able to focus too good on here, but definitely picking up some sharper foreground and looser background effects. All the detail we pull in the foreground is going to make the background look looser, and the looser the background is, it's going to make the foreground look sharper, which is why we are always blurring out all this stuff back here whenever we're working on it, trying to erase any edges and whatnot. Got a few more minutes left on this video. What should we work on now? I don't like what's going on in here. Bring this closer here. This area in the shirt here, there's like some muddiness that's happening. So what do we got going on? I need to round that out. That's an easy fix. Let's do it like this. It looks just like sloppy brushwork. I don't think that it was anything in the reference that we misinterpreted. I think it was just got a little chunky when we were working the brush around. So come in nice and tight here. There, that's all we needed right there. Much better. And then with what's going on back here, we fixed this line here where her shoulder and like side boob area are cutting in. But what's going on back there is a little trickier. So we have the mounds of the boobs are moving back this way. And some of this top is gonna, one strap's gonna go over here, one strap's gonna go over here. And the cut of the shirt, which we can't really see from this angle, is gonna be indicated somehow, which it looks like it's this little section here. So let's redefine that with a more obvious little triangle. Doesn't need to be anything crazy, doesn't need to be really anything more than one tone, because it's a really, really tiny area. And it's kind of an out of focus area, if I'm being honest, but this would be a little bit more like that. Is that right? It still feels wrong. Let's see. If this strap is coming over here, we would see more of that black. We wouldn't see this much. Let's see. Some skin here. Terminating right there. And the armpit area on the other side here would cut it closer. And then if we bring our dark brush back, we can reshape this strap here a little bit. Shadow down here. Nice, feeling better for sure. I want to brighten up a couple tones here while we have this brush out, because I need to see some shape here, even though it's a black sports bra. I need to see some kind of volume in the chest and rib cage. Finger smudge. I was gonna finger smudge that highlight on the chest, but I don't want to do it. I want to do this with brush, the way I'm supposed to. Very minimal pressure here, by the way. See that? See, that's a little bit more voluminous. I know I want to say voluptuous, but I'm trying to avoid that word, so I'd say voluminous. Volume. Sports bra looks a little bit more natural, eh? Still kind of confused about the strap in the back and that cleavage line is. Maybe if I yeah, holy smokes. See? Magic tricks. This is all I need to do to make that more convincing. Straight back with it like this. Nice. Sweet! Cool. Is that it for today? I got a couple minutes. What else can I do? I'm just picking up this stupid line right here. This stupid line. We're getting close to the fun part where I get to actually draw some tattoos on this girl. Something I've been thinking about since we started this. How am I gonna make this tattoo related? This is a tattoo travel show. How is this travel related? It's not. But canvas is in the name of the show, so I guess that works. Just kind of changing some tones here, just changing some shadow shapes, setting it up for later. That way we can have next session on these leggings, we can really jump in and lemon around for their money. I wonder if they'd sponsor this video if I put a little lemon tag on them. It's probably the dumbest thing I've said on the stream so far. There's like a notable sketchiness to this edge here. It just doesn't feel like it's time to worry about that though. Like everything else that we've been working on has been going pretty good. Can't wait to really blur out that background though. Holy smokes. I think what I'm gonna have to do is wait for this foreground to completely dry. Once it's completely dry, maybe I can mask. I'll probably mask it out somehow. Just start blurring the heck out of the background. Alright. That's probably gonna do it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Set up notifications. That way you can pop into the chat when we do this live. And we can actually talk to each other. You can send me questions or distract me. Either way, it's fun and fine by me. Thanks a lot. I will see you guys next time. Peace.